So as we hopefully get past the worst of COVID-19 and the coronavirus, as the vaccines deploy out and many people get the vaccines, my mother has gotten the first shot. She's about to get her second shot. I'll probably get the vaccine when it is available to all age groups. And what I found interesting is I was just listening to a study conducted. And they said that during the pandemic, during the course of the past year, in 2020 mainly, when there was mass lockdowns, the average person gained about 30 to 40 pounds. People gained weight. The average person suffered higher levels of depression and anxiety. There was more psychological damage due to just more psychological damage due to a variety of issues because of the state of society, because there was a lot of politics going on. Relationships suffered. There were some relationships that suffered some setbacks they'll never get back. Some of it was uncontrolled. It's just part of dealing with a disease, dealing with life, dealing with, how society can be fractured because everyone is living on the edge. Most people are living on the edge of their physical health, the edge of their financial health, the edge of their emotional health. Most people are one hamburger away from, morbid obesity. There's an epidemic that was already taking place called obesity. It's an epidemic even now. So it's a serious health problem that's been in the world. And so that's the edge of your physical health. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. 80% of people, even in a developed country, live paycheck to paycheck. That is on the edge of financial health. Now, with the stimulus and with different government programs for many developed countries is, some people ended up a little bit better than they started, but still on the edge. Most relationships are one argument away from a divorce. Before the pandemic, divorce rates are at 50%. Most people before the pandemic have high levels of depression and anxiety. Society always lives on the edge. And what the pandemic showed us is it only takes the straw to break the camel's back. Financially, physically, emotionally, in a relationship, people are not living their best life before the pandemic and after. The only thing we can hope is that, like any major issue in life, it can push you forward to a better life. Like when I was trying to get my health together in my early 30s, and I pinched a nerve in my chest, and I went to the emergency room, and I had shooting nerve damage throughout my body. It scared the crap out of me. And it took my body about a year and a half to fully recover. And it wasn't as bad as many people have, so I don't want to make it over dramatic. But it was bad enough that I went to the emergency room, that it caused a havoc on my body, and it made me aware of how to look at a well-lived life, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, every way, to empower yourself to control as much as you can. Certainly during the pandemic, there was a lot of things out of all of our control, mine included, but your routine, your habits, even if they didn't overcome some of the obstacles, they at least helped you sustain a reasonable level of health and not go overboard. Like, I truly believe there were some people that didn't have good habits, they were living on the edge, and they're not going to lose weight that they gained. They're not going to regain a certain level of their well-being back. And there's been permanent damage done. Some will recover, some will be better. So the message in this video is, if you are one of the people that want to be better, don't live on the edge. Don't stay in a relationship that you really know it's not healthy. Because if you go into a lockdown and you have to live with someone who's really unhealthy for you, it's your fault because you stayed when you didn't have to. If you are on the edge of your physical health, don't wait till we go into a mass lockdown to not be able to go to the gym or not be able to get anything other than essential food. Get your health together now. If you're on the edge of your financial health, don't wait for another stimulus. Get a job now. Work a side hustle now. Cut your expenses now. The pandemic showed us a lot about human nature around the world. I often tell you guys, as I've gotten older and I've studied life and I've seen a variety of things, human nature, no matter what part of the world, no matter what your background, is that of such of laziness and bare minimum. Very few people push themselves to live their best life. People prefer the recliner over the incliner. People prefer video games, over mastering the game of life. And there's no mastering and everything, but you have to develop yourself. And if you're unwilling to do that, you're going to be like some of these people during a pandemic who their life was already a disaster. They're, yes, shut everything down. And guys, we needed to shut some things down at certain times. There's a real threat. I know people that got the virus, and it seriously negatively affects people. So I'm saying there's a certain mindset, though, that people are living this life that it's not going to take much to totally destroy them. They're already on the verge of devastation. And any of us could be broken. I mean, last year was hard for me included. I mean, it's not a game as far as we're all human. But my thoughts in this video is if the average person gained 40 pounds, if the average person wanted to get a divorce during the pandemic, but the court systems were closed. If the average person wanted to go to the gym, but they couldn't get in, what are they doing now? Now that the vaccines are rolling out, that society's starting to reopen, how many people are going to stay? How many people are going to go back to that relationship? How many people are going to really get back to the gym on a regular basis? How many people are going to proactively go after a job, and even a better job, and work a side job? How many people are going to go right back to living on the edge? Who do you want to be in life? And even if you don't want to be anything, you fucking hate this world, which I can understand. I don't look down on that. But you have to say, look, I'm here. I'm not going to bitch and moan. I'm not going to make my life harder than it needs to be. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to show up and do my best. And that's it. And so again, we learn a lot by observing, by doing, by experiencing. And I think what we learned with a pandemic is another valuable lesson of human nature. I hope you learned something about yourself, about your surroundings, about what you want to improve, what you can improve. I hope you take that knowledge and you put it into action day by day, step by step. And if you have no other action plan, then just show up to your responsibilities and mitigate the BS in your life. Take hold of your life. Because some people fear society going back to normal because their normal was already misery. That's the truth. And so you have a choice today. If you're going to wake up on time, go after what you want. You have a choice not to take a nap. You have a choice to do an extra delivery. You have a choice to go to the gym for at least 15 minutes. You have a choice to change your phone number and not let certain people back in your life. You have a choice, but you act like you don't. And that's what will screw you up. People act like they don't have a choice, but you have a choice. And it's up to you now, as an adult, to take authority over your choices, take authority over your life, stop the guilt trip, stop the pity party, and go forward. Reopen your life. Back in business. You make that decision today and every day, because it's consistency, the grace of God, and hard work that helps you overcome what you need to overcome.